disclaimer before we continue the video. This that you're seeing right here, we're playing on the highest difficulty. I really shouldn't be doing this, but there's always that one guy. You're playing this on the easiest difficulty. And I guess that's kind of a compliment, because to some extent it represents that what you're seeing on screen actually conveys the message that we're trying to make powerful. Very, very powerful things. And if you're dubious as well, then why am I showcasing this on a second region of the game for a high level character? Only because this is my favorite location because of how condensed the enemies are. This is the gameplay that you can see right in here in the third region of the game, where the build is actually performing quite remarkably as well. And that's ideally what we're trying to, what we do here in this channel with every single game that we play. We always play on the highest difficulties possible, and our goal is to make things powerful that are actually powerful. Why would we want to watch a crappy build that doesn't do a crap of damage? Why would we? We're trying to make broken, powerful, efficient builds in every single game, so that's the goal in here, and that's what this game is going, what this build is going to be. And also remember that there's timestamps in the video description, so that you can jump to whichever section you want to jump to if you're not interested in a particular subject. So that being said, yes, this is the fighter endgame build that you're going to be able to start building all the way since the second region of the game. Actually, the most stuff that we're using on this build, it comes from the second region of the game. One more final thing, mind you, is that with the footage that you're seeing on screen right now, none of my weapons are upgraded. So that's how powerful this is. We're playing on the highest difficulty of the game. The weapons are not upgraded, and if you upgrade your weapons with this build, you commit to this build, you're going to be that much more powerful than I am right here on screen. So yeah, that's kind of amazing. Let's talk about the gear first. We're using a little bit of the dual knight armor set, and I'm going to be honest with you. There's a couple of stuff that I do not remember where did I get this from, because there are several different dueling knight armor sets. Like for example, this dual knight armor is different than this dual knight armor. So if you cannot find this one, this is a bounty on the second region of the game, and it's ideally somewhat a little bit better than the other one, but they do not vary that much from one to another. Just have in mind that if you cannot find the one that I'm using, I'm still using a couple of pieces from the very first dual knight, which you can find right in here. We are on the Horns of the South and the fortress right in here. All you have to do is just come down here, and in this destroyed building, that's where you're going to find a knight. You can fight this knight, and he's going to have one of the dueling knight armor sets. The one thing that I'm always using from this dueling knight, it's the trousers, because this gives you a critical hit chance by 25% whenever your stamina is below 20%, and also he gives you the dueling knight gloves that gives you plus 20% melee damage. This is actually amazing. He's also the one that's going to give you the dueling knight cape, which is going to increase your critical hit chance by 10%. Very, very useful. Now for the rings, my Perilous Orb, I got this from a identifying rewards. So yeah, there's has to be said. This is also something that I got from identifying rewards. There's not. I'm pretty sure that you can find it in the world as well. But mine, I found it by identifying rewards. What do I mean by that? Well, essentially, this is a advice that I should give you. If you travel at night, enemies are going to give you this only happens at night, and every single enemy is going to give you identifiable items, and they're going to have different rarities. Like for example, this is an immaculate unidentified item. It can be weapons, it could be a whole bunch of stuff, it could be accessories. As you can see, I got a +7 Red Death shield from this guy right in here. So yeah, it's RNG, but it's something that you can farm at night. And then we're also using the perfect ring for a warrior. Increase the physical damage by 5%. You can find this one on the first region of the game with a bounty that you can find in here. Remember that the bounty that you can find in here, this guy cannot be blocked, so you cannot block the attacks from this guy. Have that in mind. Now as for the weapon, on the second region of the game, if you go this place on the Corrupted Temple, you can fight Percival in here. You have to complete the temple, and he's going to drop you 2 weapons. If you see me using this, for example, this is the Sour of Plague. This is something that you cannot get until the third region of the game, and it heavily poisons enemies. I was trying to actually make a poison build with this Two-Handed Warrior, because I have this ring that I also got as a reward, the poison ring. I got this from identifying stuff as well. It increases the poison damage by 100% if an enemy is poisoned. So I was actually trying to do such a thing, but I realized that it was pointless, because the status ailment is good for low damage weapons that are fast attacking, meaning swords or daggers. That's what you should be using to build status ailment. Because with this build, as you were able to see on the gameplay showcase, you're still going to, even on the highest difficulty of the game, the first, second and third region of the game, more often than not, you are going to still be one-shotting things. And if they don't die one shot, they are going to die on the second shot. So it's kind of pointless, because it requires a whole bunch of hits for you to poison someone. So it doesn't work right in there. So that being the case, then either the Percival's left blade or the Percival's right blade that are exactly the same. It's just that one has one status ailment, the other one has another status ailment. Essentially, every time that you swing a weapon, it changes the status of the stuff that they do. So for example, the one attack is going to deal poison accumulation, the second swing is going to deal bleeding accumulation, third is going to be poison, fourth is going to be bleed. The same thing applies in here. The first attack is going to be burn, the second chill, the third burn, and the fourth chill, so on and so forth. So ideally, it's up to your personal preference which one of Percival's weapon would you like to be using, but my advice is that you actually pick a choice and actually upgrade this weapon, because this is a third region of the game's weapon. And as you can see, the damage difference or tier, it's not really that big, or like even these guys deal more damage. So marry into one of these weapons and then upgrade it. So this is the stats that your character is going to have. You're going to need lots of endurance. The endurance, we're using that because that's a armor requirement. It's very useful so that we are not heavily encumbered. And this is also a endgame character on level 60. Just have in mind that if you're like in the second region of the game, you're level 30, you're level 40, so on and so forth, then do not trouble yourself with the strength that much. Take the requirements. Dexterity and 6 is a requirement for you to use the Percival weapons. And then for Percival weapons, you need practicality on 5. But if you want to be using the one that I was using on the gameplay showcase, the one for poison, let's see real fast, it was the Sour of Plague. This has a requirement of 6 practicality. So yeah, it's either or. This is just for requirement. If you're not going to be using the Sour Plague, then use the Percival's left or right blade. Both of them are going to require the same amount of dexterity and practicality, so it's going to be 6 and 5. That's how you should be taking advantage of the attributes. And then the next focus is going to be endurance on level 15, just to be able to use the armor, and because that as well, that is a armor requirement, as you can see right in here. The armor requires lots of endurance. And then finally, once you have managed to get all of that, you're going to dump the rest of your points, every single thing, into strength, because that's going to increase your melee damage. The skill trees are going to be very interesting as well. The first thing that you're going to focus on is going to be on two-handing, maxing out the two-handing side of everything right in here. The reason for that being, well, you're going to be swinging fast and slow, heavy attacks. One of the trees right in here with the heavy attacks, they are going to deal AoE damage, but also if you swing fast, you have the consecutive bonuses for everything right in here. So for example, consecutive hits, they decrease the stamina cost for each hit up to 50%. So the more you attack with a fast attack, the less stamina is going to cost you. And there's several of these guys right in here. So for example, there's one for attack speed right in here, and then there's one for stun right in here. And yeah, I believe that these are the only two ones that you have. So yeah, it's also going to be very important, the enduring strikes, because this is going to give you 4% lifesteal, and since you're going to be dealing so much damage, this is going to be amazing. Now the next thing that you're going to need is going to come from General. On General, you're going to increase your melee damage to 25%, but also one of the most amazing things about this character is that whenever you receive damage, you are immortal because you get stronger as you receive more damage. When you're below 30% health, you increase your melee damage by 30%. The same thing goes for the attack speed, and the same thing goes for every 5% of total health that you're missing, you're going to increase your physical damage, which is going to contribute to the overall lifesteal that you have. So whenever you're losing health, you're getting more powerful, and you're never going to really be defeated, because as you can see, let me show you the gameplay again. You can receive damage. There's also the distance that the two-handed weapons have, like they have huge amounts of distance, so you're hardly ever going to be receiving damage. But also one thing that you need to have in mind is that you're barely receiving any damage because of the heavy armor and because of the health that you have right in here. So whenever they do mob you, or you're fighting something very powerful, at the end of the day you're going to out-heal the damage that they deal to you, because the more damage that they deal to you, the more powerful you get. And we're also going to be taking the skill points for health, because this basically does some similar kind of things. So for example, each enemy killed increases your damage by 5% up to 50%, and healing resets the counter. How do I want to manage this? Because you're always going to be healing with life stealing, and that is going to somewhat nullify this effect. So ideally you want to take advantage of the distance that a heavy weapon has, so that you do not receive damage. Ideally you do not want to be receiving damage, so you do want to dodge, because every time that you kill enemies, you can stack up to 50% more damage right in here. But also the same thing goes in here. The more damage you receive, the more powerful you get as well, so you're always going to be out healing everything. And the same thing goes right in here, which is going to do something similar to what General does. Every time, every 10 points of health that you are missing, your attack speed is going to be increased by 2%. Attack speed and physical damage is always going to be translated into DPS. Higher DPS is going to naturally mean higher life stealing, so that you can recuperate from that damage that you're receiving. That's why you're immortal, basically. And then the remaining points, you're going to allocate them into stamina right in here, because it has very useful things, like for example the first blood. Whenever you have full stamina, you deal 30% more damage. So if your stamina is full, you're charging a heavy attack. That charged heavy attack is always going to be dealing 30% more damage. Just have in mind as well that remember that when you're charging a heavy attack and you charge it for too long, your stamina is going to start depleting. However, if you actually recover your stamina and you charge a heavy attack and immediately let it go, this is going to have 30% more damage, because it's a charge attack that was used while you still had the entirety of your stamina. And that is basically the build. As you can see, we can use this build on the highest difficulty of the game, and it trivializes the game because of how much damage you deal, and because of how much life stealing you get back. You're always going to be increasing your damage. The more damage that you receive, the more damage that you're going to deal, and the more damage that you're going to deal, then the more health that you're going to be receiving, because of that life steal is going to be percentage based on the amount of DPS that you can dish out into the enemy. So whenever you feel that you're being like out damaged, you're still going to be able to out heal that, just because of that. Two-handed characters are very powerful in this game. If you like the content, you like it, never super appreciate it. And also, there you go, you're a beautiful person. You are in the go, you're a beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel, you're in Discord. Have a beautiful day, goodbye.